This is Misa Grand Duchess Rasmus Gooden, 13th of July at 7:29 p.m. Promised myself I wouldn't do too much simulcast until I got all my copyright stuff done and so forth. But I need to do this one today. I see Travian Martin going to trial, going to deliberation, and so forth, and other little things that I want to make a comment on. But first, let me start. It's a funny little thing called justice. And as I took a walk this week, I went down to the Rayburn building, Washington, D.C. I said something last week about on Father's Day and how what Solomon, the Bible depiction of Solomon and those two women, he had to choose between the baby. Whose baby did this belong to? And what they represented in a previous broadcast. On that broadcast, on that atoll, surprising to me, I was so flabbergasted to see that woman at the Rayburn building. There's a statue outside the employee entrance on Independence Avenue. That's the woman of justice. The angel of justice is the woman that gave up all her time and her talents to start over, leaving everything behind, and so forth. That's the woman that Solomon gave the baby to. She is on one side of the building, on one column, with her child, the woman of justice, and the other side is Solomon with his tablets, or it could even be Moses. But let it be in the real culture, it is Solomon. And how prophetic that she should be the woman of justice, and how not a monotony that they lived. They came to solid conclusion, wrong, right, and correction, as hard as it was. And as I watched Travian Martin trial, I remember something I wrote the first time I heard about the case. I said, these little lies. No one, both sides, they ignore one common factor, or one common thing that they seem to ignore. I don't know if it seems incriminating on both sides or just one side. They ignore one little factor, something as human as you can see, and I will not mention it because I wrote it in my little column almost 2 years ago now. And I said, what a monotony the trial is. I mean, do you understand the meat and potatoes of what we're dealing with? And how does it should it reverberate in society? Do we understand rules in itself? Do we understand personal privacy and personal safety and personal protection? What gives us the authority to act on somebody else's behalf if we do not have the full power of authority? And what and when does that deem that authority is necessitated? Very poignant question to life, welfare, and health and safety. Unbeknownst, undressed in this case. And I think it would have been a triumph if it was addressed. And so therefore I really just look at it as a sort of a monotony. But the monotony of justice, it doesn't firmly conclude itself as it used to in the old days. It doesn't give authority where it should, and it doesn't send a message where it should. It tolerates, we know all things. So even us, or any one of us that is innocent, is guilty in its sense. How should that be? How do we overcome such a stigma if we are innocent? How do we become again masters of purpose and not of trivial sightings and educated ramblings? Because the use of a word, darling, has a greater echo than the meaning itself sometimes. And in that we find guilt or innocence. In that we find personal offense or mildly, mildly, mildly shaken, you know, and so forth. All the words, law of words. But I wrote something on that thing, a little poem I wanted to read. It says, I live in their emblem and dine in their value affairs. Their father offered me no comfort, and their mother fed me lesser of the matter, poison to save me to the raw falters. I live in their disaster, a dream no ever after, a nightmare of screams they wrap with gleam, and dine in their hypocrisy to see what's left after everything they get warranted and wet. I live in their emblem where family matters, no companions or family at Sunday feast. Like an animal they treated me to their disease. I dine alone, not lonely, behold, holy now a greater to zeal, of which no hesitation I give to the fleas to eat. I live in their emblem, of which I had never became, because I was the emblem they couldn't personify and made innate, dined without the life they couldn't make, and refused the company of the mouth, the moronins to ache. I live in their emblem of my death. They try to take my life, and point a finger the mirror couldn't see, seek, or find. Then I dined, elevated to make mine what thine made from clay, without hatred, lust, or lies of the day. I live the emblem as a child alone, not lonely. What does thee make mine? I dine to open up the sky, to love promise not offered or wise, to eyes in which I dine. Lowly in, but higher than they armed with their weapons that destroy lives. I live my emblem, freedom I hold not, freedom for them to take stronghold, and dine while weary in themselves, the weapons of mass destruction, the demons that destroy themselves. I live liberated, free where fair they threatened free. I live liberated with fear they threatened me. I live liberated with fear they treated me, with fear the threat to me, and they made me and made my meal. Dine I upon thine eye where I am filled with the shine that Ra made unbind mind. I live my emblem and dine where it matters, the thoughts of wisdom, now simple seas, fresh unsalted waters. As I say, the moronic monotony of what justice should be. And we live it every day, every second, every hour. That somebody should be a part of a system or a structure, even in the military, and to be assaulted, raped, victimized, whatever. I'm not going to personalize this, and to become a victim still of the hour. What of our voices, and what does that say of our freedom? What does it say? And what should we gain? What do we take away when innocence is labeled guilty and blamed? This is Misa Grand Duchess Rasmus Conan. Have a good day.